Hello, the purpose of this brief demonstration is to explain the functionality that Foglight provides for a PeopleSoft application. Before we begin, I want to give you a brief overview of the dashboard that we're looking at, and then we'll focus in on one particular section that would be of interest for this demonstration, which are going to be the user interactions. So what the dashboard does overall is once you select an application, which in this case we're selecting PeopleSoft CRM, you can select from the tree based on the different statuses indicated to the right of the application. So the SLA tells you if you're currently violating any service level agreements between the IT department and the business that is supplying the application to its users. The user alarm tells you if anything's wrong with any of the user transactions, usually with regards to performance or availability. And the tiers, optionally, the tiers can represent the status of the operating systems, the databases, and the applications on the back end that are supplying the capabilities to perform the user interactions. On the bottom left, once I select an application up here, this shows the user interactions that we're measuring for the selected application. So in this case, we select PeopleSoft CRM, and these are the transactions in PeopleSoft CRM. So like PeopleSoft Search groups all of the search transactions together in what we call a request group. So it puts all the requests together. Now a request can be a page, or a request can be a component on the page. So for HR payroll, we're searching for anything that helps that payroll, the payroll transaction get executed. Now something with PS Search, this is a specific button on a page where if you click that button, we're just measuring the response time from when that button was clicked to when the response was returned back to the customer. Okay, and then on the right hand side, also this changes with context of the application selected. So this will show you where we're measuring these specific transactions from. So there's measurements currently being done from the United States and also in France. And then on the bottom right, if we're measuring the infrastructure, if you have agents on the infrastructure, we'll be able to tell you how the infrastructure is performing so that you can better judge if any of the infrastructure components are affecting your end users that are being serviced by them. So let's take a look at a couple of these interactions and explain what's going on here. So PeopleSoft Search, over the last sample period, which is typically going to be 5 minutes, over the last 5 minutes, there was one user who did a PeopleSoft search. This one user had a problem, so there's a state problem, so I can click on that. It just went to fatal. And then it'll tell me the problem. So this one says the PeopleSoft search button processing time service level has been exceeded. And what I can do here is I can do a diagnostic from this point on by clicking on the instance itself. Or what I can do is I can come back and I can just look at the instance directly. So let me do that. I'll come back here and click on PeopleSoft Search. And now what we're doing here is we're looking at a couple different things. So we're looking at the performance from end to end. So currently the performance from end to end is less than 4 seconds. But what I did is I set an OLA, which is basically a back-end turnaround time of 1 second. And you can see that our average over the last 5-minute sample period, which is at 8:44 a.m., our average is 3.4 seconds. So if I click on this red line, it will show me the specific requests. So these are the pieces on the page that are causing the performance issue. So now a PeopleSoft search button may have several different URLs that would satisfy the search button, but in this case there's one URL. And we can look at either the page processing time. So this is the page processing time mean, which is about 1 second, or we can look at the page end-to-end time. So for every single page in PeopleSoft, for every one of these requests, we have a specific set of results. So here I'm looking at the page end-to-end time, and you can see it's a little bit over 1 second is what we're averaging on that particular page. Now if I wanted to, what I could do is I can drill into this page and see all the scores on it. Okay, so this is that particular page over time. So if you had a list of 10, for example, I'd be able to track it over a certain time period so that I can see if the page has been consistently bad or if it just turned bad recently. So here you can see we're running pretty good for a while, and then all of a sudden we started getting worse and worse during these time periods. So this is a good way to do diagnostics to tell you if it's bad end to end or if it's bad on the back end, which would be, in this case, inside of PeopleSoft by looking at the processing time. So we isolate the end-to-end delivery time from the time that the application takes to render that component, which in this case it's the search button itself. So the processing time is bad as well. So you can tell the processing time took a turn for the worse. So sometimes you'll see good processing time and bad end-to-end time, which would indicate a problem on the network or on the client side that's processing. Okay, so that's a brief look at how we would drill. Now each of these would be similar. So I can drill into payroll. I can see what's wrong with payroll. And there's a couple different things. Let's take a look at a different way. So here we can see that there's a problem on the back end. It's taking 7.88 seconds. A couple different clicks here that I'll show you for diagnostics. So I can click on OLA attainment, and this will show me when I went out of bounds. So it looked like I was performing pretty good back here, and then here I started going out of bounds a little bit, and my red line is my service level. And you can see my service level is less than 6 seconds under there. So my service level went bad, and you can see here I progressively got worse in my response time. And this down here tells you my volume. So what's nice about this is I can see if my volume went up and my response time went down, then I could associate the response time problem with a volume increase. So that a lot of this you'll see during certain times of the day when there's a lot of people on the system. Maybe that's why your performance is going down and causing your SLA policy to be to go out of bounds or out of spec. Now, so that's more of a general measurement. It tells you which pages are slow out of all the requests that you're measuring for payroll. So I can drill on that like I did before. Now let's take a more specific look here. This one is measuring the request counts for HR payroll, and any request counts that are over 60 seconds on the right-hand side. And we currently don't have any that are that slow. Now, where this one's measuring it overall, what I mean overall is in aggregate. So how many times was it executed in 5 minutes? This one is measuring individual requests. So if I click on this, it will show me the individual requests over time, and these are those individual requests. So I can see this one, which is a toolbar header. So each of these took a certain amount of time, and I could pick ones out that are slow. Like this one is 9 seconds. So this is a help desk search case. And what I can do is I can click on this, and it'll actually bring me in, and we record every single user session. So what I mean by record is we capture all the HTML. So here you can see this is the slow page, and on the right hand side you can see this is what the user was doing. Now I could step through and see, and this helps troubleshoot. I could step through and see what the people were doing before they clicked on manage cases, and then as they clicked and they went through, I can see where they hit their problem. Now at this point I could take this and I'd be able to zip this up, and I'd send this whole recording back to a support person so they can see the context of the problem as the problem happened. So this is the particular page we're looking at where they're doing the search cases, and you can see right there my end-to-end time is 9.5 seconds from when they clicked the search button. Okay, so this is a good way where you could start from your home page, really watch an overall status of your application, and then drill in to do some superficial diagnostics and actually get down to something very detailed that you can send back to your development team. Thank you for attending.